This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. We are live here, right here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. We want to just take the time out to just say thank you for making ATL Day Ones your first listen of the day. And always remember, we are free and available wherever you download your podcast. And wherever you download your podcast, make sure you go ahead and leave us a 5-star review. Whew, that was a mouthful. Oh, let me go get some breath. Ooh, so we're sucking it all in right here on Locked On Sports Atlanta. But we wanted to also tell you about what we got going on for today. Let you know what's on the menu, because we know you love to eat when we lay out the table. Bring this table spread out here. We just lay it out for you as far as sports go. Now, the Atlanta Falcons, we're going to talk about them as far as Falcons OTAs. Arthur Smith is actually dropping names on who's doing well. Ooh, that's going to be an interesting one. All right, and will the Braves be able to take advantage of the Mets metting? And for the culture, our main man, Anthony Edwards, is doing exactly what we thought he would do. We'll talk about that for the culture, but first, we got to talk about the Atlanta Braves. They extended their win streak to 7 games. Who would have thought that we would have been right here? A lot of people thought this was probably the opportunity for them to take advantage of a scheduling, it is what it is. But, this is a team that didn't take advantage of a lot of things in their first 50 games, because they have struggled tremendously. And we've talked about on this show a lot about how they have been able to put it together, but it seems like the Braves are just doing exactly what they should be doing right now at this moment.
Yeah, it's crazy because you think about it, like you said, undefeated in the month of June.
Still undefeated.
That's because it's the thing. Averaging 7.4 runs along this 7-game winning streak, right? So that's
right.
One of the big keys where when we were talking about losses, especially when the pitching staff was giving the Braves what they were supposed to give them, it was, where are the bats? Well, the bats have shown up big. A second sweep in a row, 4-game sweep, a 2-game sweep. You take a sweep however you get it. And listen, like you said, when you look at the schedule, hey, it's favorable for the Braves in June. You talk about the fact that they're going to take on the Pirates. Not that the Pirates are a pushover, but that's very winnable for the Braves as far as that series goes, as well as
I would argue against that statement, T.
They gave the Braves a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
So so I'm not going to say they're a pushover because they did give them a little bit of trouble. But the fact of the matter is, Braves are now just 7 back in the NL East. On the flip side, you look at what the Mets are facing, and I'm literally looking at their schedule as we speak, Jarvis. And you talk about the fact that, okay, they're going for a 3-game series against the Angels that starts this weekend. But where it really kicks in is with the Brewers. That's going to give them some trouble. With the Marlins, that's going to give them potentially some trouble. And darn sure with the Astros, they're going to have some trouble. So as you look across, and then they play those teams repeatedly to kind of end the month of June. So that's where you look at it from the perspective of that being favorable. And you're kind of looking at that you ever want players to be down, but you're looking at the fact that Pete Alonso, Starling Marte going down recently, that might give them some opportunity, meaning give the Braves some opportunity as well, because that may or may not end up affecting the Mets and seeing if, like you said, the Mets are going to miss.
And I think the thing that I always try to look at when you teams go on these streaks, right? Because everybody's not doing great. Granted, there are some guys that they've been riding, like your Dansby Swansons, Austin Riley is going crazy right now. Even Michael Harris continues to do his first. He got his first triple last night. And just you start seeing those guys everybody's starting to gather around each other and get along. But the thing that I think is the thing that can carry them through the rest of this month is Ozzie Albies got his first home run in 40 games last night. And when you talk about him, that guy,
Yeah.
That's a guy that can get you 25, 30 home runs.
Mhm.
And I'm not just exaggerating there
Yeah.
either because I'm a fan of this team, but that's exactly what he's capable of. And a
Yeah.
lot of people thought that when he started to come along and starting to really make a name for himself in the major
Mhm.
league. So
Yeah.
if Ozzie starts getting to going too, whoo, it is gonna be trouble, 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 like in my
Yeah.
Bernie Mac voice, for the rest of this division because I think that like you said, like you mentioned with the Mets injuries and Sterling Marte and Pete Alonso, those are something that a lot of people are concerned about,
Mhm.
namely Mets fans and the
Yes.
people who cover that team. They are concerned as well. So
Mhm.
if you see the Braves only 7 games back when they were at 10.5 games back,
Right.
not too long ago, that's when you should start getting concerned. And I think Braves country is starting to get a lot more excited, especially when you got a
Yeah.
guy like Ozzie rolling like he is.
Yeah, yeah, because he is your guy who last year, no surprise to Braves country, but surprised a lot of people nationally in being a big part of that back half of the season run for the Braves. And then even deep into the postseason, especially in the World Series, he really showed up. He really, really showed up. So yeah, you were hoping like after 10 games, after 20 games, after 30 games, kind of where's Ozzie? Slowly but surely, Ozzie's coming back, and then Adam Duvall with that nice kind of rounding out of that
He's
seven
coming
run
around
seventh
too.
inning.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you like to see that, but I just had to go back to something that we talked about this week and kind of coin a phrase that we might use again on ATL Day Ones, and that is thought about Michael Harris II, and I'm thinking, ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the saving grace, Michael Harris II. Because
Nice.
just like we call Ronald Acuna Jr. the answer,
Answer?
Allen
Yes.
Iverson, okay, I'm gonna call Harris the saving grace because when you're out there not just giving them the 2-run triple, but then you're giving them a double and another defensive gem. How important is that all around game that he's bringing? And I felt like low key, we don't talk, we're talking about it game in and game out. But when you really look at it, Jarvis, it's a nice correlation and I think a true correlation between them trending up and them calling him up from AAA.
Right. Yeah, and it was funny because I saw a tweet from Dave O'Brien
Mhm.
talking about Eddie Rosario's tweet status, and
Yeah.
and I quote tweeted, and I was just like, shoot, we good over
You
here in the
good? Yeah, I was
outfield.
gonna say no, no. All right over here.
We good.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, where you gonna
yeah.
play?
No.
Like, cause we're
Yeah, it's
good.
nice to
Like
have
you
depth, but
said,
yeah,
I hate to be like that, but it is what it is at this point, Jack. Because he came in and at the end of the season, coming off an injury, not end of the season, I'm sorry, middle of the season,
mhm,
and he sat down for a little while before he started actually playing with the Braves. He took somebody's spot too, but
yeah,
hey, Michael Harris ain't going nowhere, Jack. Like he needs to stay right there in center field,
yeah.
and you can figure it out rotating with I'm sorry, Adam Duvall
Yep.
in left field or
Mhm.
Marcelo
Or
Ozuna if
Guillermo
you want to throw him out
Heredia,
there,
who play
or
left
like
and
who,
right. Yeah,
yeah, like whoever, like
whatever, whoever.
but
Right? Just you'll go, just go
like
whoever.
yeah, but don't move Mike. And I need
I like
Ronald
that.
Acuna as we get closer to July.
Yeah, yeah,
He's gonna be playing every day. So
yeah.
hey, Eddie, man, hey man, take your time, brother. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
But
Oh, and Jarvis, before we move on, you actually just you said a word because that's that other piece. Giving Ronald Acuna Jr. props because now we are seeing him. I think for the seventh straight game where we're seeing him play in the outfield as well, and not DH. So, like you
right.
said, seeing him every day and seeing him not DH on a daily basis, that's another very positive trend for the Braves, especially as you hope that they don't have a fate like the Mets, where one or two of the stars end up going down for injury, especially not now when they're on such a roll.
No doubt about it. And it seems like the Boston Celtics on the road. They get a win last night against the Golden State Warriors, 116-100. But I think the biggest storyline, T, is Steph Curry gonna be around.
Right, right. Because
Man,
Steph Curry was doing some special things in that third quarter, 15 points, and
come on.
bringing bringing the Warriors really, really back from the dead. He just
Right,
willed them
exactly.
back
Yeah,
from the
because
dead.
they look
Because the
dead.
bottom line, but it's interesting because we kept talking about last night as he started shooting the lights out. Klay Thompson finally got his legs under him, and even we saw some flashes from your X Factor yesterday that we talked about, Andrew Wiggins. So you
Hmm.
started seeing what you needed to see. But I kept saying, I was talking to my nephew who's like an avid basketball fan. yeah, they can hit shots, but if they can't get stops, it's in the fourth quarter, that's when it's going to make a difference. And
Yeah.
when Steph Curry's ankle who kind of went where it did, I thought, wow, that's not just something to watch, like you said, for this game, but that's something to watch for this entire series. Because as Steph goes, so goes that team. And yeah, it was great to see Clay kind of get his legs back under him,
Right.
and definitely see Andrew Wiggins do some things. But the bottom line is, as well, you've got to be able to have every weapon you can to offset the length, the physicality of the Celtics, and because
Yeah.
that's what wore the Warriors down last night. It was
Yeah.
just brute force after a while, and then length. And if no other league, Jarvis, I don't think there's any other league, in fact, that is as much about matchups as the NBA is.
Wow. It is.
And
It
it
is.
really
It
showed
really is.
itself
Yeah.
last night to the point where I said, you know what, there have been tweets that it trended, went viral last week. This the BPI from ESPN, and their probability of an 86% chance for the Celtics to win. Well, there are some of the factors that really say yes, it's only a 2-1 lead, but going into game four, like you said, with a shaky situation with Steph Curry, it should definitely make Dub Nation be concerned.
Yeah, and we know how those fans are out there on the coast out there. So there are probably a lot of seltzers being alcoholic seltzers being down out there in California because they are reeling when when you see a guy like Steph Curry go down. Obviously, that can be a major factor into whether or not you even have a chance to win this series
Yeah.
because we saw what it was with him.
Yeah.
Nobody really know.
Right.
That's why I said it was going 7. Because
Exactly.
of those reasons right there. So
Yeah. Yeah. Because
I think
certainly
that
Steph Curry's ankle has nothing to do with the Celtics doubling the Warriors in points in the paint and doubling them in rebound, and actually having a decided advantage on the offensive rebounding board. So you're letting them get second chance points that you can't afford to let them get. Can't put that all on Steph Curry's ankle. The rest of that team, especially Draymond Green, better show up real fast.
ooh, speaking of really quickly, why is everybody hating on Draymond? Like, leave Draymond alone.
Well,
Isaiah Thomas out here reading the man's stats. 4 points, 3 rebounds. You know how Isaiah be talking. 3 rebounds, 4 assists. That just can't cut it in the NBA Finals. This is not grade school basketball. I was like, dude, why everybody hating on Draymond, T? Why my voice getting so high?
you know what? Real talk. I still think a lot of people wonder, and have always wondered since that moment in time where Kevin Durant parted ways, the Warriors decided to stick with Draymond Green. Was that the right call? I think a lot of people have low key wondered about that. And I'm not going to say that thoughts didn't go through my head in these first 3 games of, yeah, where's Dre? Where's Dre? And also last night, I thought about this too. And this is another thing to watch. Draymond Green has gotten teed up. In a minute, Draymond Green is going to get thrown out of a game, which means in a minute, Draymond Green is going to get suspended. And if he gets suspended, now you want to talk about a series being over, especially if he gets suspended in game four. I don't care if they are going back to San Francisco in game five. That might be your series right there. That's something to where, and you love the passion of Draymond Green, you love what he brings to the table, but he has to be very, very careful, especially when 2 things. Number one, you can't allow that situation to happen again. You saw what it did to that Cavaliers series 6 years ago. And number two, if you're gonna talk that talk, you gotta back it up with your play. And, and
Yes.
and the Warriors just need Draymond to give them a little bit more.
No doubt about it. They'll be looking. We will be looking for more from Draymond Green because man, you need to get those folks off your back, Dre. They don't forgot about you for good reasons.
Yeah, I hate
But
it
make
for
sure
him,
you
but
don't forget. But make sure you don't forget about us because coming up next, the Atlanta Falcons won 7 games last year, and up until right at the end of the season, they were in a conversation for the playoffs.
yeah,
But in 2022, what does overachieving look like for them? We'll discuss that next, right here on ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta.